Welcome to your Season 15 Blaseball weather update. This is the mid-season forecast. Warning: this video contains forbidden knowledge. Stop watching now if you do not wish to access hidden information. This video would not have been possible without the work of the Society for Internet Blaseball Research. Covering 45 games, the mid-season forecast sees a dramatic increase in most weathers, but it's looking to be another wet and fishy one, with a particularly noticeable spike in both salmon and flooding. Over in Hawaii, there's an equal chance of flooding and salmon on the islands. Weather will be moving through regularly, and the only weathers not appearing will be Coffee 3s and Sun 2. Mexico City has a lot of flooding to watch out for, so keep those sandbags handy. Salmon, peanuts, and feedback are the only other repeat weathers, but Mexico will be one of only 4 locations to witness an eclipse this mid-season. Miami has an extremely high flood risk, and Dale fans have also been warned to watch out for salmon fronts. Solar eclipse, coffee, blood rain, and reverb all miss the area this time. In Seattle, the highest weather occurrences are Sun 2 and salmon, with the garages seeing the joint highest incidence of Sun 2 in the ILB, so pack your sunglasses for this trip to the rainy city. We will also see flooding, black hole, coffee, birds, and feedback. Moving down the coast to San Francisco, there is a near equal chance of flooding and salmon, while Sun 2, peanuts, and reverb all make return appearances, but it is generally quite varied otherwise. There are dangerous levels of flooding down in LA, and it's also worth keeping an eye out as the joint highest amount of blood rain in the ILB at 3 days' worth has been forecast here. This amount is matched by incidences of salmon and feedback. Charleston sees the highest amounts of flooding in this area. With notable amounts of feedback, salmon, and peanuts, there will be lots of weather available for fans, but they won't see blood rain, coffee, and birds this mid-season. Yellowstone reports lots of flooding in the national park. This brings with it large amounts of salmon and peanuts, with coffee and Sun 2 also showing up. There is a chance of heavy salmon in the Hellmouth. With the highest reported chance of both salmon and birds in the ILB, wildlife fans will have a great time here. Flooding and feedback also make repeat appearances. Across in Breckenridge, there's still a high chance of flooding, but it's the least in the Midwest. Salmon is close behind, whilst birds, peanuts, and Sun 2 all make several showings. Despite being moist, Halifax has the lowest chance of flooding in the ILB, with feedback being the most likely weather. Nothing else appears more than twice, but you will be seeing some black hole and salmon. Dallas has lots of flooding coming through, while salmon and feedback cover over half the games between them. In Houston, the stadium will see the highest incidence of both peanuts and flooding in the mid-season, with over half the games being flooded, so better add waders to your spy gear. Sun 2, salmon, and feedback all come through at least twice, giving a large range of weathers across the 27 home games. Kansas City has a large chance of flooding, but also boasts the joint highest reports of both salmon and Sun 2 in the mid-season. Not to be left out, peanuts will make multiple showings. Chicago sees an equal chance of feedback and salmon. Flooding makes repeat appearances, while coffee 3s, peanuts, and birds all move across 1 day each. Ohio is one of the driest locations this mid-season, seeing only 2 flooding games. Salmon is the highest chance, with only black hole, coffee 2, Sun 2, and birds in the area. Now in core, flooding will be the dominant weather here. The only weathers that won't be seen are solar eclipse, black hole, and blood rain, so prepare for a varied season. Boston will see lots of flooding, with many days of salmon. Feedback, coffee 3s, coffee, and Sun 2 all make multiple appearances. Philadelphia sees the highest chance of flooding on the East Coast, and will only be missed by solar eclipse, blood rain, coffee, and birds this mid-season. New York will see 8 games of flooding, a total matched by salmon and feedback combined. The millennials also have the joint highest amount of feedback in the ILB. Flooding is the highest chance in Baltimore, with salmon close behind. We also see the joint highest incidence of blood rain here. Salmon and flooding are both high chances over in Tokyo. The only other weathers that will be seen are feedback, reverb, sun 2, and peanuts. Hell has plenty of flooding to be found, which when combined with salmon covers over half of all of their games. They also have the highest showing of coffee 2 in the ILB. In a surprise to no one, Atlantis will see mostly flooding, while salmon and coffee 3s make repeat appearances. With only 4 eclipses in the mid-season, it might be worth retiring your Sundays, but with 34 games of Sun 2, wet pretzels are a good investment. Over a quarter of games will be played in salmon weather, so teams better hold tight to their runs lest they be lost upstream. Check back for your late season forecast soon, but until then, rejoice, play ball.